at 6:09. Do we have any public comment? No?
Allison?
No,
No.
there's no one here for public comment. Sorry, I was muted. Nope, no public comment.
Okay, my public comment is, again, I apologize for being late. We'd like to hear from Tony, Town Financial Report.
Thank you, Susan. So I have a preliminary report through June of for fiscal year 2024, and that's a budget surplus of just under $1.4 million. As you all know, the town includes an allocation of $800,000 of fund balance in our budget process. So that what that really means is we will increase our fund balance by just under $400,000, which leaves it at $8.6 million or 15.4% for the year. The some of the major drivers of the surplus are some items you've heard in the past and continue to be a factor. One is interest income, about $440,000 surplus for the year. Intergovernmental revenue is a surplus of about $256,000. Those are the two main items for revenues. On our expenditures, we have some slight surpluses in some of our accounts. Building official, $18,000 due to savings in part-time wages. The police department is projected to generate a surplus, probably conservatively $50,000. That's due to some vacant positions that they continue to have. It's a difficult hiring police officers in this environment. The recreation have a surplus of about $15,000. A lot of that's in part-time seasonal wages and related to the pool. The pool and gym will experience a surplus of about $30,000. That's due to the closure of the pool. That's maintenance items, custodial supplies. Benefits, $80,000 surplus, mostly due to restructuring of the retirement plan by the state of Connecticut that most of our employees participate in. The Woodbridge Board of Education is, at the time I did this report, had projected a surplus of between $30,000 and $40,000. So I put in $35,000. And finally, Amity is the other big item. Amity, the surplus of $462,806 that they lowered our March payment by. That's from their 23 operations. So those are our highlights for the year.
Okay, any questions, issues, concerns?
Tony, how many positions remain open with the police department?
So they have two vacant positions. They had hired one of them, and then the person that was hired left after 4 days because the individual received an offer from a different department.
Was that a dispatcher? That wasn't an officer, right?
No, that was an officer.
It was an officer. Okay.
Yeah. So that we had one for about 5-6 days. Now we're back to two.
Thank you.
Would have been, I think, our first female officer.
Yep. In quite a while. Yes. Yeah. So it tends to generate additional overtime, but we save money in wages. So that's usually the trade-off.
I didn't hear what you said. The reason was somebody was only here 5 days?
5-6 days. She had accepted a job in another town.
Okay. Okay, Tony, anything else on, do you want to report for us? Status
We
of
didn't-
2020 of the budget?
That should be audit. Status of the audit.
Yeah, I
And,
thought that's what you probably meant. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's I meant to say audit. And so we've just started, actually this week we started our field work, which is that they collect a lot of information, do a lot of testing for expenditures. They test for payroll to make sure the payroll's correct in terms of usually it's tested from the from the authorization for the wage through the process, forms, and they randomly pick, I don't know, 15 people. So they test payroll, they'll test accounts payable to make sure our procedures were followed, from invoice through the cashing of a check. They'll test grant expenditures, a whole series of things. And interestingly enough, a fair amount of it is being done remotely. So they used to spend like 2 weeks here, camped out at a table, and now most of it's done remotely.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're comfortable with our level of cybersecurity to have it done remotely, I assume.
Yeah, it's a lot of most of it's aside from some of the payroll records, which they'll probably come out to see. It's but a lot of the stuff is public information anyway. So, but it's a secure link to a secure website that we upload it to.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions or concerns or thoughts for Tony?
And our audit process includes the Board of Education.
Okay.
They go through the same process as we do with their records.
Tony, one quick question. With the failure of House Bill 5172, I think it is, the one that allows municipalities to tax commercial vehicles at real property rates. Do you know if we plan on implementing that here, or if we're just going to allow it to remain the same?
We received a few actually items that changes that were proposed. We haven't really discussed them in detail, so we're still sort of evaluating. I know that was one of them. There was a few that we received from the assessor, and I think we'll probably hopefully set some time up next couple weeks to review those.
Yeah, we've got some time. I don't think it goes into effect until October anyway. I was just wondering if
I'm pretty sure that
discussions early.
I suspect, Javier, and I'm not certain on this, that there was some work done on from a legislation standpoint that mitigates some of that concern. So, yeah, we do need to review it to understand it specifically, but there might be something that makes that less of a concern than it had been originally, but probably should know within the next month, by the time you meet again next month.
Thank you both.
Okay, moving on. Yes. Funding requests?
Okay.
Are there?
There are two.
Somehow I don't have any of that. I don't know why, what happened with the,
27, check 27, Susan Page, if you can
no,
see.
I don't have any of it. It didn't, for whatever reason. Again, I'm not in my usual system. Tony, can I ask you to just,
Certainly, I'm happy to go through them.
put that in the record? Yeah.
Yeah. So first is 2324 dash. Let's see, make sure I got these right here in the right order.
You're fine.
Do I have that in the right order? Let's see.
35 was the first one
Yeah. Okay.
in the packet.
They're not in the packet. They're not in the correct numerical order. So I'm going to start with 34, which is 2324 dash 34. And that's a $40,000 request from contingency. And that request is to reserve funds for negotiations and related benefits.
Would you like a motion to approve?
I was just gonna say, can someone please make a motion on that? 'Cause I
Make
don't-
a motion that we approve 2324-34 in the amount of $40,000 as discussed.
Is there a
Second.
second?
I second.
Any discussion, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Or raise your hand so we can see it. Yep, looks unanimous, okay. Any opposition and no abstentions, okay. I apologize, for some reason my tech is not working here. Tony, can you handle the second one?
Certainly. The second request is 2324-35. That is for $61,000. There was a sort of an interest in repairing the cracks and repainting and restriping the tennis courts on Center Road. It would be both for tennis and for pickleball, as I understand it. And so this would fund a project for that to repair cracks and repaint and restripe the courts. There's no guarantee that we'll actually get that done this summer because, as I understand, to repaint especially has to be a certain temperature for a certain number of days. And they're very obviously very busy this time of year. I'm not sure how many firms actually do this. But this was something that was requested by Adam in the budget. It was eliminated from the capital budget.
So we're taking this out of the FY24 contingency, correct?
Correct. Putting it in a capital account.
Okay.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve funding request 23-24-35 in the amount of 61,000.
Second.
Any further discussion, questions? All in
I
favor?
I just have one, Susan, which is,
Yeah, go ahead.
given the number of people who play pickleball, if we could at least look at whether it makes sense to convert one or both of the courts 3 or 4 to permanent pickleball. I don't know. I suspect it may be too much in terms of just patching and painting, but I think it's worth at least looking into.
Well, I suspect that's something recreation is fussing about, correct?
We'll look into it. Yeah, they'll be able to give us some information on that, Susan. And yes, indeed, we will talk specifically to Adam and the company to see exactly what's involved in that, Tom. Recognize that, yeah, it is very popular at this point in time.
Are you suggesting? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, just because so many people are doing it, this might be an opportunity to do that. But I'm sure it will be more than 60, and so that would have to be a discussion of some sort. And sorry, Tony, I interrupted you.
No, I just wanted, so I'm clear, having never played pickleball, because I understand it was going to be for like striped for both. Is there like something process you would do to make it just a pickleball court, or is that your idea?
Different striping. It's not a tennis court and pickleball court. One is dill, one is sweet. What can I say? They're not the same.
Basically, right now, what we have is 2 tennis courts with the tennis net permanently placed, lines for tennis, and then on each half of each of the tennis courts, they have
I see.
lines.
Gotcha.
And then they use
Gotcha.
a temporary,
Net.
temporary nets, and that works. It's okay, but it just given the interest and all, it might be worth looking at.
But again, that's not
Got it.
our decision to make.
No,
We're where we are with this, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks for clarifying that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion? Yes. I see all hands.
Yes.
Position, abstention, none. Okay. Is that it for funding requests?
That's it.
I don't know what happened to this paperwork. It's so weird. Okay. Approval of minutes. Yes.
That's next.
Approval of minutes for the January 20th meeting. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes as presented?
It's June 20th.
Did I say that? June 20th?
Jan, I thought you said January. I guess I heard it wrong.
June 20.
Okay.
2024.
I have one correction, if that's okay. On the last page, I did not abstain because I was at that meeting. I was at the annual town meeting at the high school. So I voted aye on the budget. Last page, the minutes right before the suspense list.
Okay.
So I voted yes, I was there.
Is there a motion as corrected?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further questions or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? No. Okay. Liaison, first selectmen's report. Mika.
Thank you. Number of things that I'd like to just make you aware of. Our town planner, we just met with today in a kickoff meeting, specifically to outline exactly to kind of set expectations between us and them and understand more closely and carefully what they actually will provide. So they're going to put together a broader scope and plan based on the conversations we had today. But we are moving forward with the town planner at this point in time. And obviously that'll be extended, and we'll be working with a number of the commissions, not the least of which is TPZ, building, housing, and EDC. So there's more to come on that. The Beecher Road School roof project is in progress, Tony, if I'm not mistaken. They're moving ahead, you know.
Yes.
It's going on.
Yep.
As we speak, the Beecher Road site work, we should have, we hope to have a bid approval by next week, where the Board of Selectmen will probably meet in a special session specifically to discuss that. So, and that obviously includes some paving, so it's something that we're having a special session specifically because of the urgency of it as far as the timing is concerned. The work goes on at this point in time. Work is ready to get started on the fire storage and training facility. And we hope that that work will be completed in the November, December timeframe, at which point in time the fire personnel will move all the materials that they have in the old firehouse to the new storage facility, enabling us to move forward and start to really do what we need to do as far as the community and cultural center work is concerned. Probably just from a timeline standpoint, we're probably looking at a bid process in the August, September timeframe. So a selection in the October timeframe with, and then we go from there in terms of completion is probably, if we're looking at the right thing, probably late spring to early summer of next year. We continue to discuss our strategic plan, and we're at a point now where I'm going to start using the strategic plan and attending the different board and commission meetings to review that with the different boards and commissions, including this board, so that everyone is on the same page, and we've got some ideas as to how we're going to communicate that from a broader perspective that you'll be hearing about. But that's something that's in place. A few tweaks that we're still looking to make, that I'm still looking to make, that we hope to have taken care of the next month's meeting. Center Building Committee changed their charge to enable them to also consider alternatives to what we need to do as relates to the center building and the tenants or the people in the groups in the center building, including the possibility of, or including the option of looking at and evaluating a different structure for the police department. So that's something that they'll be looking at, and it's, it certainly feels like that's a worthwhile based on some of the costs that we were considered. That will enable us to give us a lot more flexibility in terms of moving people within the center building as we do renovations, and we can plan renovations, in such a way as we do them segmented and budget them based on what we're able to, rather than having a broader, larger overall renovation cost. So it just opens them up to look at a little bit more than they have been at this point in time. So I think it's a good thing, and looking forward to what they come back with. The Board of Selectmen also voted to go with Cooper Robertson as the master planning firm for the country club of Woodbridge property. So right now we're waiting. We've asked them to put together a scope now that we've selected them. We are working on a grant. We continue to work on a brownfield grant that will help us pay for this engagement. The grant puts about $110,000 toward planning, the planning portion of the engagement. So there's a bit involved with these grants in terms of legwork, in terms of administrative type work. So we're continuing to do that. The LOTSIP grant, the 2030, that Commission LOTSIP grant, we received some questions from the state. There's some back and forth that has to happen in terms of information exchange. But the good news is we haven't been told that we haven't gotten it. We haven't been told that we have either. So it's a continuing process, and we'll keep you updated as that goes forward. And we're also, we haven't been doing liaisons for boards and commissions. So what we will be doing is we'll be restructuring, and we'll be asking the boards and commissions to come into the Board of Selectmen meetings to give reports on, and depending on the commission, either an annual basis or a biannual basis, and go from there as far as, and also along with that, deliver a report ahead of time, so that we can read a little bit about what they're doing, and we can make sure that we stay in tune in terms of our direction and our activities going forward. So that's about the update I was going to provide. Is there any questions or any additional information that you might want, Susan?
Yeah, Mika, believe me, the LOPSIT grant keeps me up at night, but that's not my question. My question is, I didn't hear if you said the name of the firm who you selected for the golf course property?
That was the Cooper Robertson is the name of the firm.
Okay,
Master
thank
planning.
you. Thank you. Any other questions from anybody? Okay,
And the lot zip grant, what I'll add is just for those people who might be watching this who aren't familiar with lot zip. That's the grant to do transportation type changes, which includes sidewalks and streetscape work down in the business district. Really on the Amity Road in the business district, Amity Road, Lucy Road, and Bradley Road. That's what the lot zip grant is related
right,
to.
right. Thank you for that clarification. All right, any other liaison reports? No? Can I take a motion for adjourn as appropriate?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Okay.
Okay, all in favor? We're gonna go late. So even though I was late, this meeting still. is done by 6:30.
Well done, Susan. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
don't,
Susan.
my tech